Okay, I'm quite aware this is already kind of an overdone and annoying topic for people, but I wanted to specify something. I'm on the side that if you don't own a gaming PC, you should probably get one, even if it's the cheapest thing out there. Mostly because you're partially missing out on certain things if you don't, and you really can't compare one or the other, console gaming or PC gaming, if you don't own one. And it's basically, I wouldn't necessarily say life changing, but it's, if you love video games, it makes a huge difference. I know this personally because I haven't had a gaming or a very good gaming PC at my home for quite a while now. It's been, I mean, I have one that I used to have and one that I use. It's mostly at my work, but I don't own one that I can actually use as a daily machine at home. And it's been almost, I guess, 10 years. I believe World of Warcraft was actually pretty popular when I last used a gaming PC that was up to date. And in that time, I've missed out on so much, and I've basically made it up playing Nintendo consoles. But I, with the Wii U personally, I've also missed out because the Wii U wasn't as great of a gaming console as I would have liked. Now, the Switch has made up for that tremendously. The Switch is by far my favorite game console since I would say the Super Nintendo. Even it might be because it still has a bit of way to go before it actually beats nostalgia I have for the GameCube. Um, but personally, it is actually quite up there. It may be already better, almost as good as Super Nintendo. But the Super Nintendo, if I have to go into it, like I'll go into it in another video. But the Super Nintendo is going to be hard to topple, mostly based on the nostalgia I have for that time period in video games. There was so much going on in the community, and everything else is simply not there. So that's going to be really hard for Nintendo to topple because it's not just based on what the gaming console itself can do, but also what the gaming console represents. It represents for memory and all that other stuff. In my opinion, that's kind of important, but other people might disagree. But the Switch is by far the best game console out there, especially today. I wouldn't buy anything else except for the Switch. And this brings me to my main point of why a gaming PC would be kind of. You don't need to buy the best thing out there, and you don't need to buy necessarily a gaming PC per se, but you should consider it. And the reason is because graphically, for quite a while now, it really doesn't matter. If you look at the PlayStation 3 and you compare it to, say, a PlayStation 4, there's a giant graphical leap in between both of them that you may be able to notice. And that's the big important. You might be able to notice it and you might not. If you upscale some of the PlayStation 3 games, just upscaling them to 4K and also playing them in modern hardware, you can do a lot of things with the textures that are already there and make them look much nicer. And then when you do that, the game just looks like a modern game. Um, Personally, I would say that the difference isn't that big as it used to be. So, like, owning a gaming PC, even if you own one that's not that old, I mean, that's kind of old but not that new, but it still can play modern games, you might not really notice much of a difference. And personally, this is why I would say that gaming consoles are very, very. It doesn't matter much about their graphical abilities nowadays. You can go out there and buy a Switch or a PlayStation 4 Pro, and you might not really notice much of a difference or care. And this is why I say the Switch is really, really a great console to own, especially the best one, I would say, this generation at the moment. And the reason is just simply because it can be played on the go or it could be played on your screen. It doesn't matter. You get the benefits of the console immediately. It has so many, like, in a short period, Nintendo decided to, since they decided to merge their handheld sections with their normal console gaming section, there's a huge improvement in games over, say, the Wii U, or I would even argue the Wii. The Wii didn't have as many good games as the Switch is already having. So this is why it's slowly becoming my favorite console. And it shows you why you don't necessarily need to go out there and necessarily and buy the latest technology that there is. So when it comes to the PC gaming, console gaming which one is better kind of argument, usually people point that PC gaming is better simply because of the graphics, and I really don't see the point in this at the moment. Especially since games, yeah, we're in a position where there's going to be a huge generational leap in video game graphics. If you just look in Google, like Unreal 4 engine game graphics and stuff, you'll see some very impressive stuff. Things that look almost realistic. Thing that's going to be once we get those new video cards, whether it's this generation of video cards coming up or the newer or the one after that, we're going to see a massive leap in graphical capabilities. And when that happens, yeah, then I could make an argument that maybe there's an advantage to PC gaming. The main reason that you have to realize is that when you have a PC better hardware, it's not just about graphics. It's about other technological things that you can do as well. There's AI, and there's not. I mean, there's AI. There's the way the world renders. Everything that happens is based on the capabilities of the machine. It's not entirely just graphical. There's certain things that can't be done in an environment of lesser tech. And this is why it's important that Nintendo or other companies keep upgrading their systems. But at the moment where we stand right now, whether you buy a PlayStation 3, I would say, or even a high-end PC, the graphic abilities, I mean, they're going to be vastly different. You can get 60 frame rates per second, all that stuff, and newer games, and that will make a huge difference in how you play. But when you're talking about optimized games for that hardware versus PC games where they're not optimized, it depends on your hardware, the ones that you buy. That's where the difference is. In console gaming, you don't have to worry that the game's already been optimized for that system as best as it can be and what the developer thought was the best. So you get what the developer wanted you to play in the end. In that sense, I would argue that that's how console gaming is still superior. Even to this day, it's superior because you don't have to fiddle with settings, you don't have to fiddle with your hardware. It doesn't matter. PC gaming is only advantage is that you can upgrade the graphics, you can make a gameplay better over time. Maybe if the developer didn't lock the FPS and other graphical settings, then yes, you can make it look better. And then on top of that, you can mod it and go even further if you wish. But when it comes to it in the end, I would argue that there's a huge benefit to console gaming that still hasn't gone away. And basically, this is just the fact that you play what the developer wanted you to play. You don't have to fiddle with hardware, and we're at the current stage where like whether you own, again, like I said, a PlayStation 4. I did say PlayStation 3 early, but even if you own a PlayStation 4 now and you upgraded, let's say, to a PlayStation 4 Pro, you will see some graphical leap, but it's such a minor thing. It's not going to really affect how you enjoy the game in the end. If you don't really pay attention to it, you wouldn't even notice. And the same thing goes for the Switch. The Switch is less capable hardware than the PlayStation 4, the original one, but you could hardly tell when you play Super Mario Odyssey. That's such a beautiful game. It's designed so well. Once the developer takes the time to design it very well, they do what they're gonna do with it. It looks beautiful. You really can't notice much of a difference, and this is the beauty of console gaming. PC gaming, on the other hand, you will always notice it if the developer does a poor job, or they would have to do such great optimization that you might not notice it, but in the end, you might still, unless you get better hardware and other stuff like that. But I still argue that you would need like a PC of some sort to game sometimes because there's certain advantages to it. There's certain games that just don't come out. Less so nowadays, but there's certain PC games that will not come out on consoles that you may just miss out on. And also, just because of the technological aspects of it, it's good to know it. It's good to fiddle around with it. So I would argue that you do need some gaming PC. The worst argument I always hear about that people always complain about is that you don't need a PlayStation 4 because you can play those games on a PC. That's if you own a gaming PC. Like, you would need to own a gaming PC to do that. So I would argue that yes, it's good to own a gaming PC. Um, it's not. We're in a current age where it's not necessary. I would be perfectly happy just owning a Nintendo Switch, but there's always the case that you're missing out on something. So in that sense, if you can find it, it's still good to own like a $200 or something, maybe a little bit over $200 gaming PC, just so that you can play some games that are on there that you will not be able to do so on a console. The only thing that I wish Nintendo Switch did better was that when you buy a game, especially a digital game, it would be awesome if it could be stored in some kind of ID system, kind of like on Steam, where you can just keep it for life. The way I see it, once the Nintendo Wii U and the Wii go offline from the eShop in 2018, you will not be able to download those games again. It's done. You lose them forever, and that kind of sucks. I really, really wish they hadn't done that. I wish there's a better system for it. So in that sense, PC gaming has an advantage just simply because what's available on the platform for keeping your games is superior. Digital downloads at the current moment are something that I do not would just not buy for any console. I have yet to do it. There's a convenience factor to it, but the fact that I feel like I'm just renting a game instead of owning it for life kind of ruins it for me. Yes, Steam can go tomorrow offline and I lose it all. But I feel at least that knowing that as long as they're available, I can still download those. Nintendo's a company that's been around for hundreds of years. If they make something where as long as they're around, I can still get their hardware, then I'd be perfectly fine with buying digital downloads. So in that sense, I still recommend a gaming PC if you want to just do digital downloads. But for consoles, stick to buying the heart of the actual product because at least you have something that you can use for life, unless it gets broken. And it's just more, from my opinion, there's much more advantage to it, and that's the only gripe I have with consoles nowadays. But yeah, consoles is where it's basically always been for me because of that. The only other, the smallest gripe I have is that TV technology hasn't caught up to gaming monitor technology for PCs. Gaming monitors can basically they will have no lag whatsoever, and they'll also go much faster. Like the screen refresh rate's much better. For your regular TV at home, that's gonna be more of a difficult thing because most people don't even. First of all, they barely exist, and then when they do, they're kind of highly expensive, and most people don't buy them. Also, with newer technologies like OLED and stuff, you usually get a better picture if you don't have those certain things like high refresh rates and stuff. So you usually don't buy a TV thinking about that, and that's a big shame. That's the one thing that kills console gaming compared to PC gaming for a lot of people, and I can see why. But I'm not even saying like you should go out there today and buy a high end gaming PC. I still don't see it being worth it compared to like buying something that can do 60 frames per second. Yes, there's a bigger advantage to having more frames, especially if you can buy the monitor and everything. But the current PC market of 2017, it's just not worth it. You're not going to see, especially when you're not going to see such a big leap in graphical abilities. Unless you're really into gaming, especially competitive gaming, it's not recommended to go out and buy that. You can buy an older PC that's already like 5 years old and play most of the games nowadays, if not all of them, with pretty decent graphics. If you just know what you're buying, I'll probably make another video about that. But once you do that, you'll be perfectly happy. You don't need to go out of your way and buy anything else. Like even with Coffee Lake out right now, which is the only like if you're a competitive gamer, I would say go ahead and buy that. It's the best machine you can buy. And if you need it for work, again, go ahead and buy it. Don't even think about Ice Lake or anything else because it's not gonna be here soon. For everyone else that's just gonna game and maybe do some slight content creation, buying a 5-year-old PC might be okay as long as you're not doing it for like profit or anything or for massive amounts of work. You don't need to buy Coffee Lake. If you have to buy something to say you have a business, you're making money, again, you should be buying Coffee Lake because it's not worth it to be outdated in any ways. And you might even want to upgrade that even further depending on how much money you want to make or what kind of investment you want to make on your computer overall. But for most people, I still don't necessarily recommend that. They can buy something because most people are just going to buy a 60 hertz monitor anyway, so you don't need to go out there and buy that. Especially with the markets of today. And also the fact that Ice Lake is coming out in about 18 months at the least. Because once Ice Lake comes out, I would tell everyone to upgrade because you don't have to upgrade for several years. And at that point, it becomes kind of best for most people to just go ahead and buy that kind of computer. But in the current market of 2017, you're going to be buying GPUs at extremely high prices and CPUs that are just based on older technology that is just changing so rapidly that it's really hard to make any recommendations for most people. Most people being people that are just going to play some games, maybe use their computer to research, do internet research and stuff, and maybe content creation. Because I have to admit, most people nowadays aren't probably going to be buying a computer unless they're going to be doing content creation, streaming, or playing really complicated games. And so, given that concept, if you're only playing games and maybe doing some light streaming, you can buy an older computer or even a cheaper kind of computer like a Ryzen 5. You don't need to go out of your way and buy Coffee Lake at the moment. If you really, really want to go to that price point because you want to have the best experience out there, then yeah, I mean, if I were to recommend something, it would be Coffee Lake. But you would have to know that you're doing it, and if you can upgrade again in 2 years' time, then definitely Coffee Lake's what you want to do. Like, there's no question about it. If your plan is to upgrade kind of every 2 years or so, then there's no point in stopping you. You should buy Coffee Lake. But if you're going to not upgrade for like 10 years, like so many people do, I would hold off on Coffee Lake at the moment. I would warn people that are into the want to buy a computer that lasts for a long, long time. They should just buy at the moment some 5-year-old computer for really cheap, not spending not even more than $300 if they don't have anything. Simply because once Ice Lake comes out, it's going to be an 8-core, 16-thread CPU, and you could probably not upgrade that computer for 10 years, and I mean, at least the CPU on it, and you should be pretty good for those 10 years. Whereas with Coffee Lake, although you can probably do the 10 years, it'll be more questionable because once games and stuff start using more cores and products start using more cores because they're just common, like 4 cores and 8 threads are nowadays, you're gonna be stuck in the past for the most part. And that's why I wouldn't recommend it. So that's the one thing that you have to realize with consoles versus gaming PCs. And I know I kind of trailed off there for a while. You have these things that you have to deal with, and these things aren't easy to contemplate. So you are better off, for the most part, when it comes to console gaming, to just you buy what's there. Like, is the PlayStation 5 gonna come out? You probably know that it's not coming out for another 5 years. The neat part now with consoles is that even if you buy a PlayStation 4 Pro, there's a chance once the PlayStation 5 comes out, you'll be able to play those games as well on your PlayStation 4 Pro. Like, I'm hoping that's what they're gonna do with this. I'm hoping that's what Microsoft's doing with their Xbox. It seems like that's the route they want to go, and that would make perfect sense. Like, you bought a PlayStation 4 Pro, like it should outlast you. Like when the PlayStation 5 comes out, you should be able to play PlayStation 5 games on your Pro, although they'll look worse than they do on the PlayStation 5. But you won't necessarily be able to play those on your original PlayStation 4, and that would just be perfect because like that kind of upgrade system would just make it much easier and better for people to know what to buy. So when the PlayStation 5 comes out, many people might just go out and buy PlayStation 4 Pro and they can save some money. The downside to this again is that some games will be more graphically advanced, and this is just gonna make those games weaker maybe in the long run. But again, PCs and versus consoles, it's an easy thing for me because like I would always recommend if you're just gonna game, go with the console. You're gonna be much happier. For the regular person especially, you're just gonna be much happier. But you still need a gaming PC just so you don't feel left out. Especially if gaming's like your life. Like a gaming PC will enhance that so much more, and you will just get to see so many more things that you didn't see before. But you cannot knock consoles at all. Like consoles, you need them as well. Like if you miss out on consoles as well, you're gonna miss out on a whole lot of gaming, especially when it comes to Nintendo consoles. Nintendo has some of the best games out there, and if you don't buy a Nintendo console like ever, you probably miss out on that, and you just don't understand why people love it. And I highly recommend always buy a Nintendo console and maybe some PC out there. You don't necessarily need a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One, especially not an Xbox One, because most Xbox One games are already on PC, like all of them, so you don't really need it. But the PlayStation 4 maybe, because some games don't come out for PC. Kingdom Hearts comes to mind, basically. And if you're into that, you should probably buy that. But the culture nowadays is so much. It's changed so much that it's not the same thing as before. So again, it's always. I mean, you just need both, and you always need some multiple consoles. And in the past, if you could buy all three consoles that were out: the Xbox, PlayStation 2, and the GameCube, and you would have been happy. You would have had played all the games, and you would have missed out on anything. But nowadays, you also need a PC. I would say, like you would need a PC, and you wouldn't even need like PC is like your Xbox now. You don't need the Xbox anymore, but you need the PC, and you can go again. You can kind of take or leave the PlayStation 4, and you can still feel all the things. Like you're not missing out on much, if anything. Unfortunately, like if I were to argue again, the people that make these videos usually want to make it seem like PC gaming is the best thing ever, and it can be, but you're gonna be missing out on some things. So I can see why you should probably buy a PC, but in the end, if you're happy with consoles, you should always go with consoles first, in my opinion, because for gaming specifically, those machines are built for games. And when it comes to PCs, a lot of people miss out on a lot of stuff, so it's not worth it. In the end, it's just simply not worth it. You need at least both. If you can't do both, you should consider your own taste. And most of the time, you'll see that PC is not for you. For the regular person, it's usually not for the regular person, but for the more more technologically like savvy people and the people that know what games they like, PC may be better in the end. Because personally, in the last few years, I would have preferred having a PC over, let's say, a Nintendo Wii U, because the Wii U just felt like it lacked a whole lot of Nintendo character. Even the 3DS was better than the Wii U, in my opinion. Um, so, I mean, if I felt like I missed out so much just because I didn't have the 3DS for a while, and I eventually got it, but I kind of wish I had a PC during that whole generation, to be to be honest. And you need a PC, and in the end, you always need a PC to enjoy some of the games that are out there. But again, if you're into consoles you must get. I know this has been a long video, and I should probably cut it down, but I've been trying to post more videos recently. I'll make more interesting videos as time goes on. At the moment, these videos are just me talking about a certain topic to help you guys out or help me out and try to get certain things up to date and go where I'm trying to go with things. Mostly people always ask me these questions whether or not I should go with a console or PC game or PC system, and I always try to tell them like this kind of long ass played out like topic. It takes a long time to get into it, and I just don't want to miss out on anything. So if you guys have any questions, which ones to go with, PC versus console gaming, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to answer them. But personally, if you listen to this video, you probably already know your answer and what you want. For most everyone, it's not gonna PC's never gonna be the answer because simply of all the headaches that comes with it. But to those who are adventurous and want to try it, PC gaming, they will choose PC gaming. Again, in my opinion, consoles are still my favorite. They're going to continue to be my favorite just because there's a lot of things in PC gaming that are just not as smooth and not as great as they're going to be for consoles. Like, I still get that feeling, especially with a Nintendo console, like I'm playing something that I can just sit down and relax with, whereas with a PC, I'm not sure if I'm going to be stable the whole time I'm playing the game. And that's really important for me. Anyways, guys, I'm signing out. I hope you have a good day. I'm sorry for the long video. If you liked it, let me know. If you didn't, again, as well, let me know. I'll keep trying to make a video every day. Have a good day, guys. Bye.